Yeah, let's go.
G'day, David. Thanks for having the interview with me. I really appreciate it, especially considering I'm like a baby YouTuber. So
No problem.
it's a,
No problem, Ken.
it's a big thing for me. So first, I'm going to go, instead of my own questions, I've got questions from some of my subscribers.
Sure.
So I've got to go in there and have a look. I'll go through them first. So the first one, I think, okay, it's from Nitro Racing. His question. Okay. So Nitro's question is, how is it to get to drive a real-life GT3 beast? And what is it like getting to travel all around the world to race? P.S. Is Rinaldi Racing looking for a co-driver?
Unfortunately, no driver availability at the moment. Traveling is one of the worst parts of racing. It's really not fun. It's not the idea that you have of normal travel, because we go from airport to racetrack, back to airport, a lot of rental car queues, a lot of baggage queues, and it takes a long time to adjust to that. If there's one part of racing I hate, it's that. The rest I love, but the travel is a nightmare. Especially, it's very stressful because, for example, in my case, I have to catch a taxi, train, and then catch my flight. And if you miss any of those in the chain, you could miss your flight, and that's not ideal. So I've been late for a couple of drivers' briefings, which has cost me many hundreds of euros when you miss them. But driving the cars themselves, amazing, obviously. Very hot inside, but I've now become accustomed to the heat. I do a lot of time in the sauna, and now when I get into a hot racing car, it feels like I'm ready to race. Yeah, the forces and everything, the sounds, it feels nothing like sim racing.
Of course. I mean, the G-forces alone. I've driven road cars, like just a Lancer that's mildly works around Sandown in Australia. I don't know if you've heard of the Sandown racetrack.
Yeah.
But even that, it's brutal compared to sim racing. It's
unbelievable, honestly, and
especially the brake forces. It's just, oh my god, you've got a good pair of stoppers on you.
So that's the main thing in GT cars is the braking performance. That's the biggest thing that people take. It's the thing that people take the longest to adapt to is the braking, because in sim racing, even with the right pedals, you don't put that much force into the pedal compared to in real life.
No,
and you have to put all of that force along with having a lot of feeling as well. So
yeah, alrighty. Well, there you go, Nitro. There's your question answered. So that's Nitro's question. Okay, go through these people. Okay, this is from Fat Furby. Another use. These blokes are actually all local YouTubers and friends of mine. Having been involved in ACC on PC for a while, how do you think the console release of the game will be received?
I think it's going to explode out the gates. I know a lot of people are very excited for ACC on console. I have no details about the game itself and what compromises or advancements will be made, but I think that people are going to buy that thing like crazy. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it does.
Even though I've got a monster PC and I can run it on PC, I'm probably going to do it on PS5. I think it's just going to be easier for PS4. It's going to be for PS4, is it?
Yeah.
They're going to have it out that early. Wow.
Yeah, in like 2 months or something, June or July.
Okay. Well, there you go, people. If you didn't know. So.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Now this question is from Angry Raisin. How do your lap times in real life compare on ACC to each track? And like, how do they compare to real life on each track? And why do you feel the answer is the way it is? Like, how do you?
You can't simulate. It's impossible to do a direct comparison with lap times. They within the ballpark, give or take 2 seconds on either side. The thing is, in sim racing, you don't have the fear factor. So you
Yeah.
can start to really push the limits way beyond what anything you'd ever try in real life. And it's not about fear of hurting yourself. It's about the fear of the damage and what that does to your test days and everything. It's just not necessary to push that hard. Whereas in sim racing, you're always pushing to the limit. But also the timing systems and the physics in the games are not what you have in real life. So it's impossible to say, oh, I did a 144 in real life, so I should be doing a 144 in the game. It doesn't work that way. What I'm surprised with in ACC is how close they've gotten the lap times, actually, all things considered. I know it's still, like, for example, qualifying in ACC is around a 216 at Spa.
Yeah.
And in real life, we do 217 high at Spa with the same tire. So there's a
If you think
discrepancy
about
there.
it, that's a pretty long track and complicated track. That's a pretty close time.
It is. Yeah. And like there's a couple of others. I mean, but then you get to Suzuka and there's a big time discrepancy. In Suzuka in real life, if you do a 201, you're God. And in ACC, you have to be doing 58s on a single lap. So
yeah, I found that even in Gran Turismo, you have to be doing less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Alrighty. So yes. That'll do from them at the moment. If anyone else wants to send more questions through, they can. But my own questions. So instead of the normal questions, because it's like if there's lots of podcasts that David's done for people out there, if you want to listen to them, they're really interesting and quite inspiring. This guy has worked his ass off to get to where he is. So if you're ever feeling sorry for yourself, go listen to one of his podcasts. It'll soon snap you out of it. It's true, mate.
No, so, I think my life is, I've been a pretty lucky guy, I think.
Overall, you've been pretty lucky, but like you weren't rich, you know what I mean? And so you had to work hard at your go-karting. You were behind the ball. You didn't have the best go-kart on the track. You had to freaking use your talent. You know what I mean? Use your brains when you're racing. You know, it's and you.
I still do because I lack the talent to drive fast, so I have to use my brain.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, and at least you're humble enough to know that. I mean, most race drivers I know, you know, they even like local ones, they all think they're, you know, there is that race driver confidence that I guess you have to have to a certain point. That, you know, I'm really good. You know what I mean?
You have to, but at the end of the day, my theory is that the speed is not what defines everyone, because I can point to 100 or 1,000 people who've gotten pole positions and lap records. Only a few are champions, and that makes the difference. It's what makes a champion.
Well, even in Australia, like, you know, you've heard of Peter Brock, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter Brock, he was competing well into his old age and keeping up with Craig Lowndes and stuff when he was coming up. Like, they were racing together on the same team at the same time, and you know, Peter Brock was an old man, but he was still keeping up with the young'uns and giving them a run for their money. So, experience and using your head certainly pays off.
Absolutely.
So, my first question is, how are you finding the whole ESRO ACC competition at the moment? Like, is it quite draining? Like,
it is. It's fun, but it's a lot of work and a lot of stress. The manufacturers take it reasonably seriously. Like, it's not as serious as real life, but there's still an element of pressure. I want to do well. I want to be the best Ferrari driver.
I've noticed that with how hard you work on your setups.
Yeah, I you know, myself, and I use my real engineer so that we can practice our communication in the game, so that when we get back to real life, we have a language that we can speak to each other. And I like the event organization. There were a few teething problems at the beginning. My only criticism of the series is that they let in some drivers who are not part of the official events. They are not regular. I mean, they're real racing drivers.
Yeah, they might have the bronze license, but they're not. They're not part of the regular series. They're not part of the Blank Pan series or GT3 series somewhere else.
Yeah, so that's not a problem to me, except that I know some of the real SRO regular drivers who wanted to do the race but couldn't because someone else had filled their spot from outside. And that's the only thing I would like to see improved for next time. I know guys who are in the game, you can choose them, but they couldn't do the event. So that was a strange one, and they'll work on that for the next one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Everyone who's in there is very fast. It's very competitive. And it's fun. I've loved the series so far. I don't want more. I think there's enough because it takes so much effort.
Especially
to be at the
once
front
the
takes a ton of effort. Yeah, you can't just arrive and drive. Like often in the FIA Gran Turismo races, I do no practice races.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice to have that talent. That's why I hire you.
And that it's not like those guys aren't at a high level and also have a very good muscle memory dialed in for GT Sports. But for ACC, because you have to do the setup and everything, and it's just a different way of driving, it takes a ton of time. This week we're doing Barcelona, and I have to prepare for that.
Yeah, fair enough. Keeping on that topic, sim races being put into race cars versus race car drivers being put into a sim. Who do you think's going to adapt more quickly? Do you get the question?
The race driver. Yeah.
You reckon the race driver will adapt to a sim quicker than a sim?
The thing is, when a sim driver gets into a real racing car, they're going to be multiple seconds away, and it will take them the whole day to get within a few seconds. And that's not a criticism of their skill at all. Not at all. It's such a different world. Whereas a sim driver will get into a sim and be about 2 seconds off the pace. And if you give him 2 days, he'll be on the pace for the most part. They take it seriously enough. So in the real world, there's the fear factor that suddenly comes in, and the forces, and there's this big, heavy car that anyone would take long to adapt to. But on the sim, from a real racing driver to come into the sim, it's a question of taking it serious enough. And if they take it serious enough, I've seen a lot of them adapt and race at a high level. That's my question. But it doesn't go both ways. Also in the sim, you get infinite amounts of laps to practice, whereas in racing, you get about 20 to 30 laps a day. That's nothing.
That's even my complaint with the FIA competition at the moment. I understand having plenty of slots, especially if people are working and stuff like that, but being able to have 7 goes, that's at a race, that's ridiculous. I reckon they should just, in GT in particular, and the FIA, they should give you 1, maybe 2 shots at the most, and that's it. You don't get any more tries.
I agree with that.
So,
but they did have that at one point, and then they reverted because everyone complained that I got taken out in that race. I should have another go.
Well, that's what happens.
You don't get that opportunity. But the thing is, Gran Turismo isn't real life, and neither is ACC, and neither is R Factor, and neither is iRacing. So it depends where you want to draw that line.
I guess you've got to do what the audience wants.
Gran Turismo isn't real. When people say Gran Turismo isn't real, I think to myself, well, what part of ACC is real? What part of iRacing is real? That you have to do a pit stop? Have you seen what the pit stops look like? None of them are real.
Yeah.
So I think you have to treat them as simulators and not as the real thing. So with Gran Turismo, for example, the pit stops take 5 seconds. You know, getting in and out of the pit lane. The races are sprint races. I do think the format is wrong at the moment. They made a huge mistake with this latest format. No one wants to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't even qualify.
Neither do I. Yeah.
I can't even qualify. Even if I won the thing, maybe I could be capable of doing that, but my country doesn't qualify. So I will never be at an FIA Gran Turismo event because of.
And is that just a politics thing, or?
No, I don't know what it is, to be honest. I have no idea.
Guessing, knowing Japan, it's probably a politics thing. And
no, I think it's to do with South Africa. I've tried. I'm still trying to get in there and work out how to solve this, but no one's letting me in.
Okay. So, would you be willing to, like for instance, you're living in Britain at the moment. Would you be willing to race under a British flag, or you just really want to do it under you're South African? A bit like I'm Aussie. I wouldn't want to race under a British.
I raced with the British flag as a hack for a while, and I hated it. So I reverted back to my South African flag.
Yeah.
I am very proud to be a South African racing overseas, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm from another country. Yeah, that's what people were thinking for a while, obviously, because that's what you saw next to my name. But it was wrong. So
So fair enough. So, and I had the age versus racing thing, but I guess we've already covered that. But how have you found it for yourself? Because you did enter racing a little bit late, or at least a GT category on a little bit late.
Very late.
How?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how have you found that personally? Has that been much of a battle?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been difficult. I can see how quickly younger guys adapt to things, and how it takes me a bit longer these days. Um, but maybe it's a question of confidence as well. I'm much more confident these days, so I pick things up quicker. Much like, because the thing is, when you're younger, you don't just have a very like malleable brain, you know, but it's also your confidence, your sort of
Yeah.
naivety gives you the confidence.
I
Whereas
remember myself behind the
I've
wheel
kind
at
of
that
seen
age.
too
Yeah.
much. I've kind of seen too much, so that
You've
those
seen what can go
negative
wrong.
thoughts.
Yeah.
It's not about what can go wrong. It's just like, oh, tracks like this I struggle at. Like that thought should never enter your mind. Um, but when you're younger, you don't know that yet. You just send it, and you pull out a
Yeah.
good lap from nowhere. Um, but also, I had to relearn how to drive again effectively because I took 7 years off. And
Yeah.
anyway, when I took 7 years off, it was from karting. I didn't actually know how
Yeah.
to drive a GT car, so I had to relearn all of that. I had to learn the fundamentals myself because in karting, I had a very good coach who helped me accelerate my development. And in
Yeah.
GTs, I didn't really have a coach. So I used Gran Turismo initially
I
to
think
kind of,
that's probably why you're such a good coach yourself. You've had to coach yourself, so you've ended up becoming a good coach. So
possibly, but a lot of drivers at my level coached themselves, taught themselves how to be quick. And
yeah.
and very rare, it's very rare that a pro driver has a coach. I want one, but the best coach for me is in South Africa, and
Yeah.
he can't travel to Europe because it would be too expensive.
Yeah.
I use all of my racing salary just to bring my coach along, so it doesn't make sense. So you have to
Yeah.
adapt. But I am not arrogant enough. I'm not so arrogant that I don't think I need a coach. I know I need a coach. I know that there's
Yeah.
moments and times when it's not even like at our level, maybe it's not about technique, it's about the mental thing. Just believing,
Yeah.
having someone backing you, those things make a difference.
I'll be. Yeah. I know that from when you've trained me. Just telling me to shut up, concentrate, because my mind has a tendency to wander
Yeah.
while I'm driving,
Yeah.
and you snap me out of it, and by the end of the
That's
session, I'm pulling
that's where
out
my
good
coach
laps.
was good. My coach
Yeah.
Claudio from karting. I mean, he taught me a lot about the technique of karting, which is nothing like GT.
Yeah.
But it was also how to stay calm, don't ever get upset, don't get excited, be like neutral in between,
Yeah.
find that balance and become zen. And for the most part, I'm pretty zen. Except in qualifying, I still get nervous because I keep failing in qualifying, and every time I fail, it's like an emphasis that I failed. So
It's a feedback loop. Yeah.
yeah, it then reinforces it. But these days, that's why I'm playing ACC at a high level every single day almost, so that qualifying thing no longer becomes an issue for me. And I do think I'm getting on top of it now. But we'll only find out in the real thing. Let's see when we go racing again.
Yeah. There is that. So let me have a look through this. Oh yes, your dream seat as a racer. If you could race anything, be racing any car at the moment in any series, what would it be?
Ferrari at Le Mans.
Ferrari at Le Mans. And so basically just ILMS. Nice.
Uh,
Okay. So
yeah,
you're pretty
GTA.
close.
I'm as far as I was when I was 30. So
Yes, but still, it's it's not like I'm that much older than you, but a couple of years isn't that long a time. Is if Peter Brock did it, I think you can do it anyway. In terms
no,
of
it's a
getting the
question of
speed
like
up.
it's a politics thing. It's not I maybe I can get to Le Mans. That could or could not happen. That's
Yeah,
very much actually not up to me.
that's up to the
But
people who own the teams. Yeah,
racing a Ferrari for Ferrari, trust me, they're looking
that
at young kids. They're not looking at older guys like me. And I don't have the
yeah
same. I have a lot of experience in GTs. I do. I have a lot of experience now. But Ferrari aren't just looking for that. Like if you look at their roster, a lot of those guys were Formula drivers. They're GT1 world champions, ex-Formula One drivers. With Davide Rigon, who's one of their lead drivers, is a Formula One test driver for them in the sim. So, you know, there's a lot of better guys, frankly, who are in front of the queue. And I hold it as a dream because I want to be motivated every day. And
you need to have a goal.
And I'm
that's like me. Like, I'd love to be able to get to a live event. Now, realistically, I don't see it happening. But that's still my goal one day, to somehow miraculously pull off. I'd love to be a 50-year-old at a Gran Turismo live event. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. If it takes me that long, it takes me that long. But that's my goal. I'd love to be able to do that one day. So that's why I invested what I invested and do what I do. I have my ups and downs, but you know, that's my long-term goal. I just want to get to a live event and get like one of those for myself instead of one given to me by Tijani. So like one of those T-shirts. So and you were talking before about go-karting. Like obviously, for like in Gran Turismo and with my subs, a lot of them are younger viewers. If you were going to give them advice on becoming a real race car driver, like would you advise just telling them go-karts first? Just go give it a crack if you can.
No, sim racing first.
Sim racing first?
Sim racing, and then become an entrepreneur and make as much money as possible, because that's the only thing that's going to determine if you become a real racing driver or not. Is where does money come from? Yeah. And in my case, I have a post on my website, how to become a racing driver, and the more I think about it, the more I think delete the whole thing and just say become an entrepreneur. Learn how to make money. A lot of money, because
a lot of money, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, the story, like you're still paying off debts, as far as I know, from when you first started racing, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still paying off debts.
Yeah, it's not a cheap thing.
I have a monster bill that I have to pay off.
Yeah, and
but I don't care.
You're doing what you love.
Well, it's more than that. I wouldn't forgive myself if I didn't try. And the thing is, though, I wouldn't recommend anyone follow my path, because I took a lot of risk. I took on a lot of debt. I let my company, my tech company, sink. Okay, it wasn't the most successful company, but I had something there, and I turned my attention away from that and tried to build this career. Luckily, it worked out, but I took such high levels of risk on personal level, relationship level, business level. I wouldn't recommend anyone take that route. What I would recommend, though, is you do sim racing to stay competitive. Yes, do karting. There's no question if you're young, if you can afford it. But just so you know, rather, what you achieve in karting has zero bearing on whether you get a factory seat one day. Nothing. They don't care. They never ask about that. So use karting as a learning step, more as a
bit like sim racing. It's just another learning tool.
Yes, and then when you get to the next level, you're going to need a lot of money. So best you have that somewhere.
Yeah, and if that's the case, would you recommend Formula over Tin Top Series?
Question of money. Formulas are so much more expensive. It's at least twice the price, because in GTs, you share the cost with your co-driver when you're starting out and you're paying your way. So when you're paying your way, initially you usually share the cost with someone else. And then if you get good enough, you start to race for free. And if you get better, you get paid. And that's not from the manufacturers. That's from someone else who's paying the race, who's going to have to pay your salary to be next to them if you're good enough.
Yeah. So, okay. So, okay. Basically, that's covered all the basic topics. Like I said, I just wanted to keep it short. Anyway, thanks for the interview, Dave. I'll catch you later.
Hey, Kev, it's a pleasure, man. And good luck with this. Let me know how. Send me a link, obviously. Don't forget, mate.
Yeah, community. Jinx. Anyway, not a problem. I'll catch you later, mate.